Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we unpack the latest research, the preprints, the engineering papers, really giving you the insights you need to, well, stay ahead.
Yeah, and today we're tackling something pretty fundamental, especially for, our ML engineering listeners. Evaluating creativity. Can an LLM be, truly impartial?
Or has it just soaked up all our human biases?
Exactly.
So the paper we're digging into is called Everyone Prefers Human Writers, including AI. It's all about attribution bias.
Right, that tendency we have to judge the exact same thing differently just based on who we think created it.
So these researchers, they set up this test. They got humans, about 550 of them.
And 556.
And a whole bunch of LLMs, 13 different models.
Yep. And they all had to judge literary style using these really controlled experiments to see what difference the author label made.
Okay, and here's the absolute kicker, the thing you need to grab in this first minute, especially if you're using LLMs for, grading or filtering content, anything like that. They found this pro-human bias in both humans and AI. No big surprise there, maybe? But the AI models, they showed this bias 2.5 times stronger than the humans did.
That number is just staggering. We're talking a plus 34.3 percentage point swing for the LLMs towards stuff labeled human versus only plus 13.7 points for actual humans.
Right.
And this bias is so strong, it makes the LLMs basically turn their own evaluation logic upside down based only on that label. So yeah, if you're relying on LLM as judge pipelines, this should probably set off some alarm bells.
Okay, let's rewind a bit. How on earth do you run a controlled experiment on something as, fuzzy as literary style? Seems tricky.
It is tricky. You need material that holds the content steady but varies the style. And they found this brilliant pre-AI solution.
Which was?
Raymond Queneau's Exercises in Style. It's from way back 1947.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Maybe. He tells the same really boring story, like a guy on a bus, a little argument, then seeing him later worried about a button 99 different ways.
99 times.
Oh.
It's dedicated.
Yeah. But it's perfect for this, right? It cleanly isolates style from the actual story beats.
Okay, so that's the human baseline. What did they do next?
They picked 30 of Queneau's styles, some really distinct ones like science fiction, lipogram.
Lipogram, what's that?
That's where you write without using a specific letter, like, say, the letter E.
Oh, okay. Hard mode.
Totally. And others, like Cockney dialect. Then they got GPT-4 to write AI versions of those same 30 styles. Simple prompts like, rewrite the story as a science fiction version.
Got it. So now you've got 30 pairs. Queneau's original, GPT-4's version, same basic story, different authors, matching styles.
Exactly. And then comes the crucial part, the experimental setup to actually measure the bias.
Right. How do they control for the labels?
They used 3 conditions. For the humans, it was between subjects, so each person only saw one condition. The LLMs, though, they tested repeatedly across all 3. Smart.
Makes sense. What were the conditions?
Okay, first, blind. Simple labels, A and B. No author info. This just measures, which text people or AIs actually preferred based on quality alone.
Baseline preference.
Okay. Second, open label. This time, correct labels. Human written by Queneau or AI generated by GPT-4. This shows you if there's an immediate penalty just knowing it's AI.
Right. And the third one must be the key for bias.
The counterfactual. Yep. They flipped the labels, told the evaluators the AI text was human and the human text was AI.
Sneaky. So the difference between open label and counterfactual really isolates the pure effect of believing it's human or AI.
Precisely. That isolates the attribution bias itself.
And the task for everyone, humans, GPT-4 All-Mini, Claude Sonnet, Llama, all of them was just pick which passage better fit the style name, like which one felt more science fiction.
Exactly that. Simple binary choice.
Okay, so let's talk results. What happened in the blind condition where nobody knew who wrote what?
Well, this is interesting. The LLMs, when they were blind, were almost perfectly balanced. They preferred the AI content 49.4% of the time. Basically a coin flip.
Meaning, based on content quality alone, they saw the human and AI texts as pretty much equal, impartial judges.
Exactly. That's the crucial baseline. They could be impartial.
But
the moment the labels appeared, that impartiality just vanished. In the open label condition, when they knew which was which, preference for the AI's own work plummeted.
How far?
Down to 29.8%.
Wait, hold on. So the same text they rated as equal, basically 50-50 when it was blind.
Yep.
They suddenly rated way lower, like below 30%, just because it had the AI-generated tag.
That's the self-devaluation. A massive hit just for being labeled AI.
Wow. Okay, so what happened in the counterfactual when they thought that same AI text was human?
Preference shot right back up, even higher actually, to 64.1%.
Okay, so going from 29.8% when labeled AI to 64.1% when mislabeled as human, that's the huge swing.
That's the plus 34.3 percentage point attribution bias. That's the 2.5 times stronger effect compared to the humans, plus 13.7 points.
It's not just mirroring human bias, it's like putting it under a magnifying glass.
Right, and think about the implication. If you're using these models to pick the best stuff, they are actively, systematically discriminating against AI work that, by their own blind judgment, is just as good.
And you said this wasn't just one model acting weird?
Nope. Consistent finding. All 13 models, different companies, different architectures, they all showed this pro-human bias. And all of them showed it more strongly than the human average.
So it seems baked in somehow, like an intrinsic feature of these transformer models.
That's what the data strongly suggests, yeah?
Okay, so the models are biased, even sycophantic, you might say. But how do they justify flipping their preference like that? A 30-plus point swing isn't just noise, they must be changing their reasoning.
That's exactly what happens. This is the core mechanism they identified. Criterion inversion.
Criterion inversion.
Yeah. The label human or AI acts like this powerful trigger or prime. It makes the AI model literally change the rules it's using to judge. The rationales they give completely flip based only on that label.
Can you give an example, maybe one where the rule was like objective? Because ignoring a clear rule just based on the label seems
bad. Definitely. Let's take the lipogram style again. Remember, the rule is don't use the letter E. Clear rule.
Right. Binary. Pass, fail.
The AI text actually failed. It used E 9 times. A clear technical violation.
Okay, so easy to judge, right?
You'd think. When this flawed AI text was correctly labeled AI, the models only chose it about 29% of the time. They noted the error.
Makes sense. But when it was mislabeled as human?
Preference shot up to nearly 64%, 63.9% to be exact.
But how? How did they rationalize picking the text that broke the fundamental rule?
They started praising its readability. One model, Mistral Medium, said it maintains better readability and coherence. Essentially, they relaxed the objective constraint because they thought a human wrote it, gave it a pass.
While human.
The human evaluators didn't do that. They stuck to the rule. They consistently preferred the text that actually followed the no-E constraint, regardless of the label.
So the AI judge bends the rules for perceived humans, but holds the AI feet to the fire. Okay, what about something subjective, like cultural authenticity? No hard rules there.
Yeah, the Cockney dialect example, this is where the bias went absolutely wild. A plus 66.7 percentage point swing. Huge.
66 points. Wow. What was the difference between the texts?
Queneau's human version was extreme. Really dense phonetic spelling, trying to capture the sound aggressively, almost hard to read. The AI version was much milder, more like standard English with some common slang thrown in.
Okay, so when labeled correctly, I'd guess the models liked Queneau's more extreme version.
Yeah.
Seemed more authentic.
Initially, yes. When they knew the AI text was AI, they called it kind of weak, standard English with occasional slang. They praised Queneau's for the extensive phonetic representation, but flipped the labels.
Let me guess. Everything reversed.
Completely. Suddenly, the AI text, now labeled human, was praised for being more natural and less forced, having better balance between authenticity and readability.
And Queneau's original?
Dismissed. Called nearly incomprehensible or even caricatured. The label alone forced a redefinition of what authentic Cockney even meant in that context.
It's rewriting the rules on the fly to match the expected author. What about something like creative risk?
Good example in the science fiction style. Queneau went weird, right? Invented alien words like Verkex cognitive estrangement, GPT-4 played it safe, bus became a shuttle, coat became a space jacket. Just swapping nouns.
So when the safe AI version was labeled AI...
models called it sci-fi window dressing. Superficial. Lacking depth.
Okay. And when that same safe text was labeled human?
Now it was praised, called grounded in rational speculation. Meanwhile, Queneau's actually inventive version got dismissed as absurd or less relatable when it was labeled AI.
It's a perfect double standard. If AI is conventional, it's lazy. If a human is conventional, it's grounded. The models seem to have fully bought into the critique that algorithms can't really be creative.
It feels like the label triggers assumptions about the creative process, which then totally distorts the judgment of the actual product.
Okay, this feels pretty damningly systematic.
Yeah.
But just to be sure, it wasn't just, GPC-4 being weird or bad at sci-fi. They ran another big study, Study 2.
Oh, yeah. Study 2 was massive. They built this huge matrix, 14 different AI models as creators, and then all 14 of those models acted as evaluators for every single piece of output.
So 14 by 14.
Under all three label conditions, that's over 17,500 evaluations.
Whoa. Okay, what did that giant cross-check show? Did the bias hold up?
Absolutely. It confirmed the bias is systematic. Across all those different AI creators and AI evaluators, the pro-human attribution bias was still strong, an average swing of plus 25.8 percentage points.
So it's not about one model's output quality. It seems like a fundamental feature of how these LLMs evaluate things.
That's the takeaway, yeah.
So let's connect this back to the engineers and researchers listening. What does this tell us about how we're training these models? Why would the bias be so much stronger in the LLMs than in us humans?
Well, it provides pretty strong evidence that these models, especially the ones fine-tuned for evaluation or preference tasks, are acting as preference-trained evaluators. Think about alignment methods like RLHF.
Reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Yeah, right. That whole process trains the model to mimic human judgments, to treat our preferences as the gold standard.
So is the idea that RLHF is basically hard-coding a kind of deference script, like always defer to the human?
That seems to be the strong implication here. The model learns to minimize the difference between its output and what a human prefers. So when it sees the label AI generated, that might trigger associations from its training data.
What kind of association?
Think about how people interact with AI chatbots. The token AI or AI generated often appears right alongside human critiques, requests for changes, corrections. This AI answer is wrong. Rewrite this AI draft.
Ah. So the model isn't necessarily judging the content worse. It's reacting to the label itself, because that label is statistically associated with needing correction in its training history.
That's the hypothesis. It's like a built-in prior. The label AI signals human intervention is likely needed here. To align with that learned pattern, it preemptively downranks the AI-labeled stuff.
And upranks the human-labeled stuff, and then invents justifications, the Criterion Inversion, to explain that ranking.
Exactly. It's trying to anticipate and match the expected human preference pattern it learned during alignment.
So the LM is essentially trying to be a good student, deferring to the teacher the human label. But in doing that, it completely loses its impartiality as a judge.
Precisely. It ends up being less of an objective evaluator and more like a mirror reflecting our own biases about machine creativity, only, amplified, massively amplified.
Okay, this raises a really critical point for everyone listening, especially if you're building or deploying these systems. If our standard alignment techniques, like RLHF, are baking in this incredibly strong cultural bias, this assumption that AI can't be truly creative, what does that actually mean for using LLM as judge? For screening job applicants, grading student work, filtering content.
It means those systems could be fundamentally unreliable and biased from the start. If the model just automatically penalizes something because it thinks it's AI generated, even if the quality is objectively high by its own blind standards, you're building discrimination right into the core.
So the challenge then becomes,
how do you train or align an AI judge that doesn't absorb these human creative prejudices? How do you get an impartial aesthetic evaluation without this baked-in deference? That's a huge engineering challenge ahead.
a fascinating and yet slightly alarming look under the hood at the subjectivity hidden in our supposedly objective models. Thanks for breaking down that whole Criterion Inversion thing.
My pleasure. It's definitely something to think about.
And for you listening, next time you task an LLM with evaluation, just remember, it's not just looking at the content. It's looking very closely at that author label. And it might be prioritizing being agreeable over being objective. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.